What is going on, IPA fans out there? Welcome back to another video of mine. I'm Mr. Josh, and I'll be bringing you my IPA Season 7 draft analysis. I believe it's, no, is it Season 7? It is Season 7. I don't think it's Season 8. Yeah, Season 7, yeah. Where we will be attempting to make it to our third straight championship. As you guys may know, last season I went to the championship again against the same guy, Matt, and was hoping for back-to-back dubs against the same guy. That would have been pretty cool. But Matt, showing that he's quite an excellent battler, was triumphant because I didn't have a switch and I queen, and it kind of sticks on my team because it was Fire Blast and not Flamethrower. So it O-code everything that didn't resist a move that wasn't named Hippowdon, and yeah, it wasn't fun. I couldn't break. I don't know. Yeah, it's if you really want to see the replay, just I don't know. I'm not gonna link it. I just got beat. I got tossed. So I'm trying to make a comeback because I had a pretty good season last season. Besides literally the one championship game, I would say I played pretty well in all my games, and we want to make a comeback and just show that we are still a threat. Show that we are potent, and make it to a third straight championship is the ultimate goal. Also, GPC will be started pretty soon. So this video is really just to get back into the groove of recording, and if I can, I'll try to record both IPA and GPC. But if you know me, it's probably not gonna happen. But you guys should know not to take my word for anything I say. So we're gonna mainly be sticking to GPC since it's an upload required league, but IPA will just be if I have the opportunity. So anyways, let's get right into it. As you can see, my background is a Zinnia background because I don't know, I've always liked Zinnia, and as of recent I've been a little more interested in the character, and she's pretty, she's interesting, beautiful, awesome, and she kind of like rapes you in that one part in Omega Ruby, so interesting character. Anyways, hopping into the draft, I have I think I was pick number 10, and I had a various amount of options, but of course broken stuff were being taken, so there's only so much you can really do, and just should probably extend that a little bit. Okay, boom. So I was wondering what I should take, and by the way, this isn't going to be like an in-depth analysis like A Drive. My whatever, if the people who do follow me in my fan base probably know how to play Pokemon. I'm not going to explain what they do because you should know what they do. It's they're not that hard to explain. But I'll explain why I drafted, of course, but I'm not going to show you the movesets and everything. It's whatever. So anyways, my first round pick was Zygarde. I was able to pick up Zygarde, good old dragon buddy. Nobody knows it's broken because of 1000 Arrow, not to mention its lowest base stat's 81, which isn't even important. Its lowest, most usable, and most important stat is Tidal Speed Def and Speed at 95, which is honestly amazing. So, Zygarde's being amazing. Can run, just various amount of setup sets. And not to mention that it just forces teams that don't have a real good ground resist, mainly like teams that don't have a really great grass type to take on 1000 Arrows. Really need to worry about this Pokemon just because like Banded Arrows is a thing, Subcoil DD 1000 Arrows is a thing. So I'm excited to have Zygarde. And last time I had Zygarde Mega Gardevoir, the double guard core. And in that season, I won the championship with it. And ironically enough, Cole also won. Actually, coincidentally enough, I should say, Cole also won with the same exact core of Mega Gardevoir Zygarde. So it's pretty good. I don't get Mega Gardevoir. Spoilers, I did get a different Mega, which I was really interested in trying. But I do get Gardevoir later on in this draft. You'll see when I get it. But that's another pick for another story. So, that was Zygarde in a nutshell. So next, I was unsure about what to pick. I went through my head. I had an idea, and I wanted Superior, definitely. Like looking at the team, I knew a Superior would be pretty good just because having Superior's one of the better answers to Zygarde, to be honest, just because it has a great base stats and defense and HP, and it's a grass type purely, so you can take 1000 Arrows pretty well. Not to mention Superior in a league where you have unlimited Z options with your mons is pretty good because it's unpredictable about which week you can bring a Z Serp and you can blow away some walls with it. So I was like, you know what, Serp is like my main thing. Like if I don't get Serp, I'm boned. You can ask Tristan. basically quoted that. So I was like, please just give me Serp. I don't care if I don't care if the rest of my draft goes bad. I just want Zygarde Serp. Like that's my main thing. So, and that Pokemon is, indeed I was able to get the superior. That was weird. Okay. Anyways, yeah, superior. Like I said, I really wanted this Pokemon because it's excellent at just clicking Leaf Storm, running HP hidden power coverage, running substitute potentially, running Glare, running Leech Seed, and random Troll Z moves. And that's one of the many things that goes for superior. Not to mention pure grass. It's not the worst. It's not the best typing, but on this Pokemon specifically, it's pretty good just because it allows it to take water moves pretty well. Excellent water check to just powerful Leaf Storms, and you have no drawback with clicking such a powerful grass stab since you're getting a +2 boost on top of that. So it makes it just that great of a water check in that sort of way. And not to mention base 113 speed is pretty good. Not quite Sneasel speed, but it's better than Mega Dancy speed. So that's always excellent. And like the number one thing I have with superior is that it doesn't necessarily die to like any one move, unless it's like a really powerful stab, super effective move from something. In that case, yeah, superior will definitely die, but it almost never does. So I'll be able to take a hit potentially once I'm +2, Oko something right off the bat. Then I'll be +4 potentially if I came on with Leaf Storm after I was already +2, and I can go from there. Superior is just a pretty fun Pokemon. Not to mention, obviously, I don't really need to run any investment since 186 times 2 is like 392, if I'm not mistaken. 300 and no, it's like 300. It's nowhere near that actually. It's like 372, which is still pretty good, with no investment at all, just by clicking one move. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, I was happy to get Surf. So anyways, next up, I wanted Rotom Wash and I wanted Sylveon. Those are my next two picks. My Mega is going to be a little secret that I keep, and I'll keep in my back pocket until I actually get there. But I wanted the Sylveon and I wanted Rotom Wash. Rotom Wash being like an excellent ice answer, and that would have been pretty great. But yeah, here's the thing: I don't end up getting Rotom Wash because Tristan, the guy I left my picks with, fell asleep, and Kersey ended up picking up Rotom Wash as a result, because he's right after me, give or take. I think maybe not quite right after me, but he was right after me. And yeah, Tristan freaking fell asleep, and I lost my Rotom W as a result. Rotom W would have been quite nice, not just because it has W in the name literally, but it would have been a Levitator, would have been an Ice Resist. Like, unless somebody else drafted another Zygarde dog, I would have had a great ground answer. Not to mention, just the water type, it would have been pretty nice. But unfortunately, yeah, that didn't happen. And then Tristan also just ironically picked up the Sylveon, which I wanted. So yeah, everything having to do with Sylveon, everything having to do with freaking Tristan, man. Hopefully he recompensates my transgressions against himself, because this makes me really sad. But don't worry, we were able to pick up another Pokemon, which was somewhat able to substitute for the lost and forgotten Rotom Wash, and that Pokemon is known as the one and only Starmie. Let me just scroll down to that really quick. Yeah, Starmie being pretty good at what it does. Really fast base 115 speed. I now have that Pokemon that hits that speed tier, and spoilers, I don't ever hit a Pokemon that goes above that, so yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's okay. Starmie, base 115, base 100 special attack is pretty decent with potential analytic boost to do Hydro Pumps with Life Orb. That's pretty nice. Not to mention I can run the all-powerful Illuminate, but in all seriousness, Natural Cure is a great switch into Scald, and not to mention I'm already a Water Resist. It made it a great kill to answer in like Oraz, which is like what it was known for at the time. Now it's not really necessarily used because the power creep was too much for it, I guess. But Starmie's still pretty good at what it can do. Obviously, with the Bolt Beam coverage that it does get is pretty nice, pretty underrated, but it's pretty nice as well. Rapid Spin's like just Rapid Spin. There's not much more to be said, and not to mention it's pretty bulky too. Like it doesn't also just doesn't really die to one hit unless it's like a freaking Seed Flare from a Shaman, if it's like max special attack, or really powerful Modest Thunderbolts or something. But yeah, this Pokemon I've used Starmie before. I used it pretty well, I would say, and I'm excited to potentially do well with him again. I'm just kidding. Starmie doesn't have a gender, but it's okay. It's 2018, man. I'm not going to judge you. But yeah, Starmie, it's not exactly the run wash I wanted because it's not the greatest switching this to ice since base 60 HP is base 60 HP, but you know, it does give me pretty powerful options in terms of coverage, and you know, recover is always nice. I don't have to rely on pain split for my recovery or resto, chesto and such, so it's pretty good. Not to mention it's a pretty good Cobra Bear user and such. Anyways, I didn't know what to get here actually. Like I had the option of getting a fairy, but you know Sylveon was gone. I wasn't gonna get a Aromatisse, wasn't gonna get Florges, and it was already taken anyways. So at this point I was actually looking at Telepathy Tapu Lele. You can believe it or not, but I definitely was. So I was like, well, I got a few options. But at the end, I think I went over to the 9-point tier, and I saw this one fairy, and like I mentioned, I did have the Mega Gardevoir Zygarde core that won me the championship. So I was like, you know what? This isn't as good for obvious reasons, but it's not bad. So normal Gardevoir, it's pretty similar to Mega Gardevoir in terms of its defense and HP, because obviously HP doesn't change and its defense stays at base 65. But obviously not having the base 165 special attack, base 130 something speed def, and 100 speed, you know, kind of lackluster, but it's okay. Base 80 is pretty good, 284 at timid, but max special, that base 125 special attack is still pretty fantastic. Not to mention Trace in this generation in this expansion of Generation 7 has gotten pretty good. Not to mention Trace has just always been a great ability. And Mega Gardevoir being a fairy psychic type, running Wish, Taunt, Healing Wish, Moonblast, Psychic, Side Shock, Thunderbolt, freaking Destiny Bond, maybe Shadow Sneak, Kappa. But yeah, Gardevoir is just pretty good. I've never ever used a normal Gardevoir. That's something I can say I've never done. But if any of y'all watched the GBA, Jolt has been a great example of how Gardevoir itself is just a great Pokemon. Saltfest Gardevoir like single-handedly bent over Envy's team. Choice Scarf Gardevoir is also just a pretty good revenge killer. With that base 25 special attack, Stab Moonblast, it hits like a freaking truck. And not to mention, if there's ever a time I get the Trace Sheer Force, that'd be pretty good. But I don't think that will ever happen. And knowing my luck, it'd probably be like a Scarf Nidoking that I trace, and I would die. So that's probably never, like I said, it's a pretty 50-50. It's a pretty like specific situation, but it can happen. So yeah, Gardevoir, you know, pretty good Pokemon. Besides Trace, I'm not gonna run freaking Telepathy, and I'm not gonna run Synchronize. Like that's just something that's not gonna happen. So you know, Gardevoir, pretty good mon. And now at this point, I want to complete my Dragon Steel Fairy Core. Looked over to the steels. All the good, obviously, if anybody knows Pokemon, the really good bulky steel types are Skarm and Celesteela, and that's kind of it. So I was like, well, let me look into what's potentially there. I mean, Heatran too, but Heatran's like 4 times with the ground, and that's kind of it. So I was like, okay, let me look into the lower price steels, and I saw there was a steel type still available, pretty good, and I was able to pick it up because I picked it up pretty early, I would say. And that Pokemon is the one and only Registeel. Registeel is known for just being notoriously bulky, base 150 on both sides of defenses and base 80 HP. Yeah, you better believe it. Yeah, pretty good mon. It's my first Stealth Rocker, actually, so that's always fun. And you know, I actually at this point have 2 hazard removers with Superior and Starmie, so that's nice. And you know, like I said, Registeel made my first Stealth Rocker. You know, like Seismic Toss, Curse, Earthquake, Iron Head, kind of it. Really, I'm not gonna run Zap Cannon or anything like that. Like even if I'm going up against a Gyarados, I'm not gonna run Zap Cannon. Let's face it. But Registeel, you know, pretty good mon. Never doesn't get 2-hit KO by a lot. Even super effective moves can really bounce off of it, literally. But Registeel is pretty fun. I've never ever used a Registeel. Fun fact: I've never used a Registeel. I've barely used any of the Regis in general, because I mean, Registeel is really the only good one in the league. Regirock is decent, but it's never drafted for obvious reasons. But yeah, I've never used Registeel personally, and I'm kind of excited to use it. You know, pretty nifty, and that's kind of all I have to say about it. Like, it's kind of a one-trick pony, but not really at the same time. Not to mention, like, the burn nerf specifically. If any of y'all play RU, Registeel literally never dies now because of the leftovers burn nerf. You're essentially just neutralizing your HP stat, and you're not losing that 6.25. You're not getting a minus 6.25 gain after every turn. You just stay neutral, and so it makes Registeel a lot better when it gets burned now. Like, getting Scald Burn or like Will-O-Wisp burn isn't even important to it anymore. That's always pretty nice. So Anyways, at this point, I, really wanted Palestine, but freaking fucking Cole picked it round 5. I was like, well, I guess I gotta go with my next best option. So I was looking through the freaking drafts, and I was like, well, I got one option, and that option was the one and only the one and only thick Mamoswine. Yeah, if I can't have Palestine, I gotta get the next best thing. At one point, I was a huge advocate of Mamoswine, and then GPC happened, and I found out the amazing value of a Palestine, and my heart has been sold since then. But yeah, Mamoswine. Yeah, I already missed my Palestine. You can already hear my voice. But yeah, Mamoswine, pretty great Pokemon for obvious reasons. Base 110 HP is pretty insane. Base 80 defense and base 60 speed def. Yes, it gives you option for Assault Vest or just max HP, max attack. That's always pretty brainless. You can just go with that. But yeah, Stab Earthquake from this thing is insane. Stab Icicle Crash is insane. Great priority user. Realistically, it's my second great priority user now. Because I had Extreme Speed Zygarde before, now I got Ice Shard Mamoswine. At least this one's actually Stab, but still weaker than Extreme Speed, but you get what I mean. If you look at the attack stats and do the math, it's probably just as equal in power, but anyways. Yeah, Mamoswine, pretty good. Gives me my second Stealth Rocker. He gives me a Sash Endeavor user, most likely. Maybe, not most likely, potentially. Earthquake, I could run Freeze Dry, but realistically I never will do that. It's not a good move, even against Swampert. Swampert's the only exception to that rule, really. But yeah, Mamoswine, it's good at what it does. It gets some coverage, but realistically, all you're gonna be running is Ground, Earthquake, Ice Crash, Ice Shard, Stealth Rock, Filler. That's realistically it. Maybe Superpower at sometimes, but not really. Knockoff at sometimes, but not really. Just kidding. Knockoff is actually pretty good at this thing. But anyways, that's Mamoswine. So, that's my first 6 picks right down the drain. And yeah, you can see all my teams there from past leagues. I was thinking about recording some of these, but I didn't go and do so, so it's whatever. Anyways, this is the round where I finally pick up my Mega, and I figured looking at the teams, they were all picking up their Megas, and this Mega didn't exactly fit on their team. So I knew this would work out. Realistically, I knew I wasn't gonna get sniped in this one, but I wasn't gonna be that guy to pick it on the last round of the draft because I didn't want to risk it necessarily. So I do pick it up now, and that Mon is that's awkward. Mega Charizard Y. If any of y'all know, last season I had Megazard X, and I did pretty well, brought it all the way to the championships, and unfortunately lost to Matt, like I said. But Zard Y. The other counterpart, which not really because I can actually run physical pretty well, but base 159 special fucking attack, man. And Fire Blast in the Sun? Are you kidding me? That's kind of insane. Base 115 speed def, this doesn't even die to HP Rock, man. That's kind of insane when you think about it. Yeah, Mega Charizard. I'm kind of excited to use it, Fire Blast, Air Slash. Realistically, you're never gonna run Flying Stab. Just click fire moves, man. Why would you click anything else when you can click fire moves / solar beam? It's literally the greatest thing. Unfortunately, your greatest fire stab is 85% accurate, but let's ignore that. Flamethrower is a thing. Heat wave is a thing. It's okay. We have options. Base 100 speed. It's a bit to be desired. I wish it was higher, but since both Zards realistically should have both base 100, it's whatever. But Zard Y is still pretty amazing. Not as good as Zard X, I must admit, but I wanted to try it out, I'm not gonna lie. And after Jarrett used it last season and won speed tie against my Zard X, I feel it was appropriate for me to use it, just in case there's ever a time where I do have a Zard X versus Zard Y matchup. I want to realistically lose the speed tie so I can feel like I have balance in the force. Basically, I want this thing to lose another speed. I want this thing to lose a speed tie on my side against another Zard X. That way, I feel like the Zard X from last season would have. He would have had his what's the word? He would have finally faced justice, the Zard, because that turn probably lost me. That turn realistically turned the whole game around, because I think I won 5-0 straight up if that didn't lose the speed tie. But whatever, I'm off track. The Zard, I'm excited. Fire Blast, Roost, Tailwind, potentially with my team. My team could really appreciate Tailwind, especially some of my later picks, as you'll see. And that's Zard in a nutshell. No, I'm not really, but it's Zard. It's just a strong Mon. Fortunately, 410's weak to rocks, but we got a Starmie, we got a Serp. It's fine. Anyways, at this point, Speaking of hazards, actually, my next mon is actually a hazard stacker of itself. It gets T-spikes, it gets spikes, and yeah, it doesn't get rocks. It doesn't get rocks, unfortunately, but it's a pretty good mon. And this is when I start diving into the low tiers, because at this point my points are really low. At least I thought. You'll find out later on what I mean by that. Well, I figured my points were really low, so I was like, okay, what great value Pokemon are available in this? Well, if anybody follows draft, people always say that ground and poison types are absolutely essential in draft. Like, that's just kind of a thing. So both Nidos were drafted, so I was like, okay, let's think of what to do. What poison type gets hazards? It's grounded, and it's pretty cheap. You guys probably already answered the question yourself, if you know Pokemon at all. Garbodor, pretty good at what it does because it has the potential to run Aftermath. Rocky Helmet is pretty nice in this Pokemon, not to mention base 80, 82, 82. It's excellent. I mean, it's not excellent, but it's great. Like, it's definitely great. Like, realistically, that's about as good of a mod. That's as good as a mod that has like base 100 HP with like 60 some defenses, and that realistically could be bulky. You know, same thing. And you know, poison, pure poison is just a great defensive typing. That's why Weezing's so good, because of like levitate. It gets rid of that ground weakness, and you're really only weak to psychic. That's pretty decent. Like, when you think about it. Of course, if the only reason why I wouldn't draft Weezing is because it's not a ground and poison type, so it doesn't get rid of T-spikes for you, unfortunately. But you know, it was an option. But yeah, Garbodor gets spikes, gets gunk shot, gets toxic spikes, it gets seed bomb, it gets like random acid spray, clear smog, probably gets some other coverage I don't really know about. I know it gets drain punch, and you know, that's pretty nice. It could run sludge wave, sludge bomb, but base 60 special attack. You have no reason to do so realistically. But you know, Garbodor's he's literally a pile of trash, but I love Garbodor. I've always liked it, and you can ask King about this. I don't know if you know him, but I surely do. My good friend Kingsicle. I'm not gonna. I may link his YouTube in the description, even though he hasn't posted in like a year. But yeah, Garbodor is pretty good. Yeah, and he will tell you for sure. Yeah, Garbodor is like Jesus incarnate, and that's not an insult to Christians. I'm not saying Jesus is garbage, but like, this thing is actually amazing. It's really awesome. So at this point, I figured I was really low on points. I figured I didn't have enough points for anything. So at this point, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna meme out these points. Like, I'm realistically not gonna get any good Pokemon. So I was like, okay, after Garbodor, nothing matters. So my first pick after this one, I'm trying to remember. I literally just had these. Yeah, it was the Alolan Raticate. And this actually isn't a meme. Like, I wanted, like, I think it was like, I was building my plan, and I knew I wanted this Pokemon. And this is where the Tailwind potentially comes in. Like, Banded, like, I'm gonna do the math for you guys. Like, let's just put hustle on this thing, like, right now. Let's give you an adamant nature, 252, adamant, 231. But you do the math, you multiply that by 1.5. I'm not sure how it works with choice band actually. Like, you add 1.5 to the 1.5. Let's just multiply the 1.5 to the 1.5, and it's not, I'm just kidding. Yeah, 265. 265 times 1.5 is around 398, give or take. Yeah, it's like 297.5, but you know, whatever. 397.5. So let's say you add another 1.5 to that 1.5. That's a pretty big number. Like, that's almost 600 special. That's almost 600 attack. And this Pokemon gets Double Edge. That Stab from base 120 move gets Crunch. Does it get Pursuit? It does get Pursuit. It gets U-Turn. Like, this one, it even gets Sword Dance. And you know what? It gets fucking Sucker Punch. Like, this mod could do stuff. I'm kind of excited for it. Not to mention, it's a decent Scarfer. You know, like, obviously Jolly, you're going to be a little less than the base 80s at 284, but 278 times 1.5, you're hitting above 400 speed. It's not horrible, but it's not good, let's face it, especially when your physical attack stat, even with hustle, is only going up to about 362. But you know, it's not horrible. I'm kind of, you know, I'm excited to use Alolan Raticate because I feel like there's definitely matchups to where it would work. Like, I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this, but let's say I'm facing a Reuniclus, I can run like Bandit Crunch and like absolutely destroy it if it's not Cobra Berry. But yeah, like just shit like that. Like, Raticate can do some work. And anyways, let's move on to the next picks. At this point, I thought I didn't have enough points for anything, so I'm gonna tell you what I drafted, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Like, I know it's going to happen because I already told King about it. He told me I had enough points, and I'm not worried. So anyways, I drafted that, and I drafted this. Jumpluff was first because, Sun, Chlorophyll, Sleep Powder, U-Turn, Swords, Hands, Acrobatics, Leech Seed, Substitute. It's your cheap version of Whimsicott with actual options to set up. Even though base 55 attack is base 55 attack, even if you run like max attack. You know what? Acrobatics SD at +2, you're gonna hit decently hard. But yeah, Jumpluff, it's not horrible, but it's pretty trash. Let's face it. It does get U-turn though. It does indeed get U-turn. Don't sleep on that. But I'm not keeping this, and I'm going to tell you why. And in Togedemaru, I didn't have an electric type. It gets U-turn and Volt Switch, gets Nuzzle, gets Zing Zap, gets Iron Head now, thank God. And I don't think it gets any form of setup. I'm pretty sure this doesn't get Swords Dance, and it does not. Does it get Work Up? It does get Work Up, never mind. But it does get utility moves like Encore and Endeavor and freaking garbage moves. But yeah, Togedemaru and Jumpluff are not going to be on my team because I found out I had 4 extra points after the draft was over. And grace period is a thing, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to indeed get this Pokemon because, King did the math and he said, yeah, you can keep the Eradicate plus your 2 Mons even after everything is said and done, so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to go with, and that Mon is Heliolisk, and obviously Heliolisk has option to that Solar Power, boosting all your special attack by 1.5 times, which is insane. Hyper Voice is going to be hitting hard. Hidden Power Fire if I choose to run it in the sun, boosted by Solar Power. Yeah, that's pretty strong. Hyper Voice, Volt Switch, Surf in the sun. That's funny right there actually. Focus Blast in the sun. Yeah, I'm never hitting that, but stuff like that's pretty nice. And not to mention, it just gives me a really fast Volt Switcher, like a really great Scarf user because of that speed tier plus the option to run Scarf out allows free to outspeed like Dragon Dancing Gyarados and such. Like, I'm pretty excited to use this Pokemon. Like, I've used I used to be a huge advocate for Heliolisk back in like the middle of Auraz League. I used it it was a staple on my teams, like way before I was like anywhere near decent, to be honest. But it doesn't make me love Heliolisk any less. It's pretty good at what it does. Stab Hyper Voice is pretty awesome. Yeah, like there's not much more to say about that. Like, Hyper Voice is just a great move in general. Not to mention Volt and Thunderbolt is like great. Basically fast electric type. Not much more to say about it. I'm not gonna explain the gist. Oh yeah, this is like really underrated too. Dry Skin. Yeah, I now have a water immunity. That's pretty nice. Looking at my team, like I already have a natural cure. Don't get me wrong, but I don't appreciate water too much. Like Madman doesn't want to take it. Zyger doesn't want to take it if I'm not behind the sub. Zard doesn't want to take it, even though I essentially resist with that Spadefstat and the Sun. But I would really yeah, there's not much more to say. That's my team. Just ignore the Jumpluff and the Togepi. Pretend they don't even exist, which essentially they don't. But anyways, that's my team, and yeah, time to go into the ratings of what I think about it. I lose to like any sort of fast fire type once I set the sun up on myself because my fire resist is weak to grass, and Solar Beam in the sun is a thing. So I'm actually pretty scared of that potential option. Like, I looked into the low tiers, thought about drafting Flareon, but it wasn't worth it, realistically. And I didn't want to change a little Eradicate. I didn't have the heart to do so, so I kept it there. And Zard, I guess, in its own way, is a good fire check. Like fire moving in the sun's gonna hurt, especially with Hazards up. And at that point, if Rocks are up, I'm not gonna switch into any fire types at all unless I outspeed and roost up on them. But Zard, if Hazards are not up, can realistically switch into a fire attack twice. But yeah, let's say I'm going up against like a freaking Flare Blitz and Arcanine in the sun. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna appreciate that like at all, and it's gonna be kind of scary, to be honest. But like besides that, I feel like I have pretty good synergy with what I got. Got pretty decent speed tiers. I don't have anything extremely fast, but I don't think I needed it. Like in the season I won, my fastest Pokemon was Gardevoir, which is like, just think about that for a couple seconds, and yeah, yeah, not much more to say. But it's anything is possible, and the power of Zygarde superior. Really excited to use. If there's a mod I'm really excited to use this season, it's definitely just normal Gardevoir. Like, I used Mega multiple times, never a normal Gardevoir though, so that'll be most interesting to say the very least. And yeah, that's all I gotta say about this. And before we do anything else, we're just gonna leave it at Zinnia because like I said, you need just check her out. She's pretty cool. Yeah. There's not much more for me to say. Uploads will hopefully be coming soon. I don't know exactly when IPA starts because we are gonna have, yeah, and it'll probably start after grace period, which should be starting like literally any minute. Well, not any minute. I'm just being exaggerating. I'm exaggerating, but like it should be starting any day now since the draft is officially over for us, the Magir. So I expect for it to start, if like definitely tomorrow, if not the next day after. So we'll start. We'll make sure Helios gets on the team when it does come around. If it does, if for some reason I somehow get sniped of my Heliolisk, then you'll be seeing Togi D and Jump Bluff on the roster. But that's not gonna happen. Let's just it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's all for me. I'm gonna be signing out. I should be going to sleep, and I also have work to do. But I'm going to probably have like a grind, a power hour, something tomorrow in the morning. It's okay. We'll get it done. So yeah, that's all for me. So au revoir. Peace.